I got asked questions I wasn't expecting. If could be a life story, I bet I spent, I'm dreading reading the transcript. I don't know, let me think about it, maybe we'll like blah, blah, blah. So it's gonna be not positive. All right, who are we?
Like lawmakers, international
Lawmakers?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, international lawmakers, that's who we are, so kind of put that hat on. And I would like to introduce the class Joey. Round of applause.
Hi, my name is Joey Bianca, like she said, and before I actually want to start talking, I just want to pose a theoretical question to you. You don't have to answer, but what amount of money would you say that you could put on a human life? It's pretty hard to say, right? Well, through the use of chemical patents or pharmaceutical patents, companies have pretty much been able to do just this when they discover new drugs. Researchers actually found that nearly 70% of all Americans today are on at least one type of prescription drug, which contributes to the $1.1 trillion industry that the pharmaceutical industry carries, and makes it so that their industry in general is pretty inelastic, where they could pretty much charge any price they want to. Just for some background, in case none of you knew, a chemical patent or a pharmaceutical patent is just like any other patent. It pretty much says that the government gives you your company exclusive rights over the way you manufacture the drug, everything that went into the drug, and the outcome of the drug is yours to make only. No one else can make it, or they will be sued. To get a patent for a pharmaceutical or a drug in general, it's actually a lot harder than a regular patent. It usually takes about 10 to 15 years through FDA testing to make sure that it will work well and not cause adverse effects on people. But once they get the passing of the FDA, they usually go to international patenting, so then in other countries you can't make the same drug also. Just as a personal connection, when I was in 5th grade, around 9 or 10 years old, I was actually diagnosed with ADHD, so I've been taking medication since about 9 years old, and I've been having to deal with the industry since then. When I got diagnosed in the first place, it was right at the start of when ADHD was coming into the big public light. So a lot of new upbringing companies are starting to make new pharmaceuticals for ADHD. So through the time of between about 10 years old and 16 years old, I went through 8 different brand name drugs trying to help me control my ADHD, because I was a very awful student kid in general when I was younger. But since I was buying the brand names and not the generics, they would usually run me $300, or my parents, $300 to $400 a month, which is kind of ridiculous, seeing that it's not a illness that will kill me. It's just something that will try to keep me a little more normal and hyperactive. Right now, I am prescribed Adderall, which is generic name, or is the brand name of the generic amphetamine salts. It's pretty much the most used ADHD medication there is out there. And even to the day today, I still pay near $150 for a month's supply of the Adderall. So obviously, the demand in the industry is very high. But taking my personal experiences with the industry, it's nothing compared to other situations like in Africa, when the first antiretrovirals for HIV and AIDS treatment were first discovered. When they were first discovered, it cost over $15,000 a year to get treated for your HIV/AIDS, which, as you can possibly imagine, is impossible for an African, somebody in an African country to afford. So while maybe not intentioned that way, patents are keeping drug companies, they're giving the drug companies the ability to keep their prices ever higher because they believe that they need to recoup all their losses. Which brings me into actually the pros for the pharmaceutical companies. In my opinion, patents are somewhat of a necessary evil in the healthcare field, because just of the considerable risk you take as a pharmaceutical company making new drugs. Just for some statistics, it says, I've learned that one out of every 10,000 compounds discovered actually becomes an approved drug for use in America. Development of drugs from research and development alone to sale is an estimated $4 to $11 billion for a working approved drug. And in the pharmaceutical industry in general, they say that for a company to survive for more than 3 years, it must discover $1 billion drug every few years. So a drug that's not duplicated and is going towards fighting a new kind of disease that hasn't been cured yet, pretty much. So yes, they are spending a lot of their own money to fund and find these drugs, but at the same time, the pharmaceutical industry is also receiving some of the highest subsidies and federally funded grants from the government to do this work. So while the patent is helping them recoup all their losses, the average medication costs about 50%. The industry pays about 50%, and government pays about 50% for the creation of the drug in general. So to say that they need 20 years to recoup their losses seems a little ridiculous to me. With all that being said, it's my opinion then the greater good of healthcare for the world, we have to alterate the chemical patent somehow. The government already subsidizing most research. We should be able to put a fair value price on how much it costs to create and disperse the drug in question, especially if it's something that can help a lot of people or like cure cancer or something like that, a big medical breakthrough. It needs to be put a fair value price onto it. And I believe that once the company surpasses that amount that they paid to produce the drug in general, the patent should wear off then, or at least other companies should be able to make generics and maybe possibly put their profits towards the company that originally created it, just so they could keep building revenues. But I can say that without some kind of change to the patent system in the pharmaceutical industry, we're looking at astronomically high prices for even non-terminal illnesses such as mine, really. Any questions?
Any questions?